Hello everybody! I know normally I do gaming videos, but I've got something a little different for you today. And that's because I just got back from Florida, where I was on vacation at Walt Disney World. Now, I used to go to Disney World every year with my family when I was little, but I haven't been back in a while. But this is my first time back in a while. So as someone who knows a little bit of the history on the rides and got to ride them again recently, I think I should make a tier list. So while they're all still fresh in my mind, here is my Walt Disney World ride tier list. So starting with the Astro Orbiter, it looks pretty cool. It does kind of just go in a circle and gives you a good view of Tomorrowland, but I tend to skip it when I'm there because I think there's a lot more interesting things to do. But just for the view it offers you and for how cool it looks, I'm gonna put it in B tier. Space Mountain. This one's one of my favorites and I ride it a lot when I go to Disney. When I was younger, I used to be scared of it because it's all in the dark and it's very fast and jerky and it'll drop you down. But it's a thrilling experience to ride, despite its age. And it also feels long when you're riding it too, and the line's really short most of the time, so it's a short line for a longer feeling ride. And it's a very nice indoor in the dark coaster with onboard audio too that will play some sounds to emphasize certain parts of the ride. And it also takes your picture too. The queue is themed like a spaceport up in the stars, and it gives a really nice vibe before you get on the ride. One thing I am disappointed about though is that after you get off the ride, there's normally this conveyor belt type thing that takes you to the gift shop. That's gone and they just put carpet over it. I kind of miss that, but whatever, I can walk down a hallway. I'm gonna put this one in S tier. It's always a good time. Prince Charming Real Carousel. This one's a classic, but one that I don't typically ride. You'll see a theme on this video is I don't like rides that just go in a circle, but it has a lot of really nice detail on the painting. It also plays classic Disney music, and fun fact, it's over 100 years old. It was originally made for Belle Isle in Detroit, which is where I'm from, so there's a bit of a special connection to it. So I'm gonna put this one in B tier for now. Tom Sawyer Island. This one was closed when I went because they're remodeling it into a Cars Land, which I think is a big mistake because they're draining that river in Frontierland, and it's gonna kill the vibe of the whole area if they just put cars in there. Because it's themed like Frontierland has this theme of old-timey America, like the 17 through the 1800s. And if you put a Cars Land in there, that's gonna ruin the whole vibe. It's gonna ruin the immersion of the land. But enough about that, because we're talking about Tom Sawyer Island, even though it won't be there soon. Tom Sawyer Island is just this walk-around area. You take a little raft over to it, and then it's an island. There's some tunnels to explore. There's a fort. It's just a fun place for kids to hang out, and it's got stuff and it's themed like the Tom Sawyer book. You'll see signs written by Tom Sawyer and different Easter eggs. It's also a very quiet place. The rest of the Magic Kingdom is very loud and very concrete, but if you take the little raft over to Tom Sawyer Island, it's very quiet and nature-y. So it's a nice place to take a break in the park, and I'm sad to see it go. I'm gonna put this one in A tier. The Barnstormer. Goofy's Barnstormer, I think, was my first roller coaster. When I was little, I would get off and get back on and get off and get back on, because it's a very fun ride. And it is a kiddie coaster. It's made for little kids, but it's a very well-designed one, so it's something that adults can still enjoy too. So yeah, it's just a fun coaster themed around Goofy and airplanes. It's fun. I'm putting it in A tier. Walt Disney World Railroad. The train is really interesting, but it's not that fun to ride. There isn't much to see as you're going around. The only thing that's really interesting that you can see from the train is Thunder Mountain Railroad. It passes like right next to it. Well, right now, while part of that park is closed, like Thunder Mountain's closed right now, along with Tom Sawyer Island, so the train is only running around half of the park. It does not go over that way right now to hide the construction from you. So the train will actually pull up to Main Street, and then it will reverse back the way it came, and it's going halfway down and back the line. It's very funny to watch. But I'm gonna put this one in C tier. Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin. This one was also getting an overhaul while I was there, so I did not get to ride it this time, sadly. But it is a game where they put you two to a cart, and then you each have a blaster that you use to shoot targets around the ride, and you get a score at the end for how many targets you hit. So you get to compete against the person in the same car as you to try and get the high score. Everything in the Space Ranger Spin has this neon glow to it. It reminds me very much of a mini golf course, or laser tag, because it is lasers from the gun. The line for this ride is always really short, and there's this really big Buzz animatronic in the queue. The only real complaint I have about this ride is that the triggers on it were always smashed in, so it would hurt my finger to use the guns. But other than that, it's a pretty good ride, and I'd have to put it in A tier. A nice little break to do before, during, or after the two big coasters in Tomorrowland. Cinderella Castle. I don't really know why that's on here. It's cool. They have this really awesome fireworks show. They also do a projection show along with the fireworks every night. And they're also running multiple stage shows in front of the castle every day. I don't know, it looks cool. I'm gonna put it in S tier. It is the symbol of the Magic Kingdom after all. And Disney World in general. Now we have Mickey's PhilharMagic. This is a 4D show at the Magic Kingdom, where Sorcerer Mickey's putting on an orchestra performance, but Donald ends up getting the magic hat and starts running through a bunch of Disney movies after he loses the hat, trying to get it back. And the seats will blow air at you, they'll blow water at you. There's different scents for different scenes too. So it's a real 4D experience, plus the 3D glasses. The most interesting part of the show, in my opinion, is that the stage itself will lift up into the ceiling. The curtain and the pillars around the stage, everything just lifts into the ceiling. And then once Donald actually gets back to the orchestra, everything comes back down from the ceiling. And you return to this concert hall setting. And then Donald gets blasted out of the screen into the wall behind you, and there's a Donald animatronic in the wall. So it's this really neat, immersive show that literally comes out of the screen. So I'm gonna put this one in A tier. The Monsters, Inc. Laugh Floor. This one's an interactive comedy show where the monsters on the laugh floor at Monsters, Inc. will pick random people from the audience and make jokes with them, make jokes about them. And you can even submit your own jokes before the show while you're waiting in the queue. And the characters will read them out during the show. It's a comedy show driven by audience participation, and I even got picked to do some of the audience stuff the last time I went, but not this time, sadly. There are a lot of jokes that stay the same between shows, but then a lot of the audience-related jokes do change show to show, just because the audience changes. So the show can be a bit hit or miss, in my opinion. It definitely hinges on the strength of the actors that they get to do the show. I'm gonna give this one a C tier experience. The show feels really short, too. Peter Pan's Flight. Hot take, I think this ride is overrated. This ride always has at least a 45-minute wait, and we come at the least busy time of the year. So I would hate to see what the line looks like at peak tourist season. So on this ride, you fly in a little replica pirate ship on the ceiling over a bunch of scale models of scenes from Peter Pan, which is a neat gimmick because There isn't really another ride in the Magic Kingdom that is suspended from the ceiling. Everything else is like a coaster or it's in a car along the ground. Also, they did put some pretty neat stuff in the queue, including a wall that projects your shadow onto it, and you can interact with different butterflies and bells and stuff like that. And Tinkerbell will fly around the room too. I'm gonna put this one in A tier, but I personally don't like waiting in that line. So it's something I do once per visit and then never again. Pirates of the Caribbean, this one's a classic. The line for this one is never too long. It has a really great atmosphere, it's fun to ride. It also does that same thing where different rooms in the ride will have different scents to match the theme. Like when the town is burning, you smell burning wood. And after the success of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, they added Captain Jack Sparrow to the ride too. I also remember like 10 years ago, when after they launch your boat into the ride, there was this mist wall that you go through that they projected Davy Jones onto. But they took that out for some reason, I don't know why. Yeah, the ride starts with you going on a drop down into the main scene of the pirates attacking the town, and it ends with Jack Sparrow getting his gold. And I love everything in between, so this is an easy S tier ride. Tomorrowland Speedway. This is one where you just get to drive little cars around a track. This isn't a ride I really enjoy that much because it's always very hot there, very loud, and it smells kind of bad too, because they're gas-powered cars. This one is definitely made more for kids, and it's not really my thing. I'm gonna put this one in C tier. The People Mover. This one's a nice relaxing ride around Tomorrowland, and it even takes you into the second floor of some of the buildings, where you get to see some scale models of the Disney parks, along with the inside of Space Mountain, which it's really fun to ride the People Mover when they're doing maintenance on Space Mountain because they'll have the lights on, so you can actually see what the ride looks like. So if you need a nice, relaxing break in the middle of the day, take the People Mover. Under the Sea. This is a ride where you pretty straightforwardly just hop in a continuously moving clam and go through the entire story of The Little Mermaid. So it's a decent ride, but I think the most interesting part about it is the queue. It's themed really well, like it feels like you're walking underwater. It's a really nice themed area, and just a decent ride overall, so I'm gonna put this one in A tier. Dumbo the Flying Elephant. I already said how I feel about rides that just go in circles, but this one's a classic, so I'm just gonna put it up here with the Astro Orbiter in B tier. Hall of Presidents. I didn't really like this one as a kid, because it basically just does another retelling of the history of America, through the lens of the presidents, but it just goes through the same American history that they drilled into our head every single year in elementary school through high school. And I didn't really appreciate getting a week off from school just to have another history lesson on the same stuff they teach us every year. So I do find this attraction to be kind of boring, and it ends with the narrator reading off the names of every single president as you sit there for like 5 minutes. I really just think this is kind of a boring one, and it's one that I'd skip if my family didn't enjoy it. I'm putting this in C tier. The Jungle Cruise. This is another good one. You get taken around in this boat by a skipper who is cracking jokes the entire time. Which that's the draw of the ride, is the skipper who jokes about everything that you see. So you get taken on a little tour of the jungle where you'll see like monkeys, elephants, hippos, and even go through a little temple area. So it's a nice ride. The thing I don't like about this ride is the queue. It's all outdoors and it's very hot to stand in that queue. And then there's no relief when you get on the boat because you're still outside. Remember, we're talking Florida weather here. So if you have a lightning lane pass, I would recommend this one. But other than that, I'm putting it in B tier. The Haunted Mansion, another classic Walt Disney World ride, and it is another one of my favorites. I love all of the effects that they have in there. I highly recommend looking up a video on how the effects are done because there's some really interesting engineering concepts in there, especially with the Pepper's ghost effect in the ballroom scene. I also have a bit of a personal connection to this ride because I did recreate it room for room in Minecraft. So if you ever want me to do a tour of my Haunted Mansion Minecraft build, leave a comment on this video and subscribe. There, that's my plug for this video. But yeah, you never have to wait too long for it. They added some fun stuff to do in the queue. They bring you through a little cemetery with interactive tombstones and stuff. Or if you touch instruments on the stone wall, they'll start playing. Or there's a stone bookcase where books will pop out and you can push them back in and others will pop out. Or there's a statue for the drowned mariner who will sometimes sneeze bubbles. And the atmosphere is all tied really nicely together with, while you're waiting in the queue, you can look out over the rivers of America to see the steamboat coming by, which will be gone soon when they put the cars land in. But until then, it's not a long line. Queue's very fun to go through. The ride itself is really cool, has a ton of cool effects in it. Easy S tier. The only thing I don't like about it is they added that stupid Hatbox Ghost animatronic, which just pulls you out of the whole experience. It doesn't fit at all in the ride. It looks so out of place. It's a small world. The It's a Small World song will get stuck in your head all day, and it's very annoying. So it just plays the It's a Small World song while you go on a little boat ride through a bunch of different show scenes with dolls representing countries from all over the world. And it is a neat little thing to experience, but it does kind of feel like a filler ride where you're in the middle of the day and you have nothing else you want to do. You just walk right onto that ride because there's never a wait for it. And then you just have a good time. So as a nice filler ride, I'm putting this in B tier. Liberty Square Riverboat. This thing's actually huge. It looks a lot bigger up close. It does just go in a circle around Tom Sawyer Island, but it offers a nice view of the park. I think it is more fun to look at it than actually ride it. So for that, I'm gonna put this in C tier. The Mad Tea Party. This is a spinning cup ride that I tend to avoid because it is one of the very few rides in the park that could actually make me feel sick. But it all depends on how fast you turn the wheel, I guess. But it has nice theming, it's a good ride. Overall, I'd put this in B tier. Winnie the Pooh. Another classic dark ride in Fantasyland. This one feels like it takes you into a Winnie the Pooh story. And my favorite scene is once it starts flooding everything, and it really does feel like the room is flooded, like the way they have the effects done. It's really nice. I'm gonna have to put this one in an A tier. Country Bear Musical Jamboree. This one is interesting. It's just a country musical show with bears, like as the name implies. But in my opinion, it's kind of boring, and it doesn't help that they recently refurbished the show to get rid of the original Country Bear music and replace it with just a string of Disney songs. So not only do I think the show is boring, but now it's boring and unoriginal. So I just gotta put this in D tier. I also hear that a lot of people find the animatronics creepy. I personally don't, but still D tier. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. This is a very fun and short roller coaster. Like, the first half of it is a very tame roller coaster, and then it takes you into like a classic indoor Disney dark ride site type thing. And it ends the ride with you going past Snow White's house as she dances inside with animatronic Dopey. So I think that is cool. But the thing I don't like about this ride is its unusually long wait. For some reason, this ride always has an hour wait, and it never goes down. And I just don't think the ride warrants that. I don't think it's worth an hour ride. An hour wait. This is one that I would recommend just getting a lightning lane for because I just don't think the line's worth it. I'd have to put this in A tier though. I think it's an A tier ride. Magic Carpets of Aladdin. Another spinning in the circle ride. Unlike the other ones, I'm not gonna put it in B tier. I'm actually gonna put this one in D tier because the Astro Orbiter looks cool and it offers you a really good view of Tomorrowland. And then of course Dumbo is a classic. But the Magic Carpet doesn't give you either of those. It's just kind of there. So I'm just gonna put it in D tier. Tron Light Cycle Run. So Tron used to be one of my favorite movies growing up. Looking back on it now, it hasn't aged as well, but I was still very excited when I heard that they were putting Tron Ride into the park. The Tron Light Cycle Run sits in its own massive pavilion in Tomorrowland, and it has a nice hub area outside of the main queue, with the coaster going directly over your head while you're in the hub area. And there's this huge canopy over it too that lights up at night. So the Tron Pavilion is a really nice area, and it plays the Tron music, which is just legendary. The ride itself has great theming. The pre-show, you get digitized into the world of Tron, and the pre-show is timed with the launch of the roller coaster, so you actually get to see the coaster launch as soon as you walk in. It launches you very fast. It's a very nice ride. I'm gonna have to put this one in A tier just because it feels a little short and because I don't like the retheme that they did for the new Tron Ares movie. So this one just barely misses S tier. Next we have the Enchanted Tiki Room. The Enchanted Tiki Room is just a room with a bunch of animatronic birds in it that will sing different songs for you. But it has these windows so it looks and feels like you're on maybe the Hawaiian Islands while you're in the room. And then as the songs go on, more and more animatronics reveal themselves. It's very interesting how they all kind of just hide around the room and then come to life when they're needed. Like there's the birds, there's potted flowers, there's statues, there's totem poles, and then this whole bird perch thingy that comes down from the ceiling. So it will surprise you if you go to see it. I just don't think it's the most interesting show. I've seen a couple iterations of the room, like there was the original, then when they rethemed it with Iago from Aladdin, and then people hated it, and they switched back to more closer to what the original was. But I'd say this is a one and done type attraction. It's something that you could just walk into and see at any time of the day and then say you did it once, you know? I'm gonna have to throw this in B tier. Carousel of Progress. This is an animatronic show in a rotating theater. So you basically sit down in one theater and then it will rotate around to a different stage in a circle. Instead of the next scene coming to you, you come to the next scene. And it goes through progress of America, basically, of technology, from the invention of electricity to like automated appliances. And then the show ends with what's supposed to be the modern day, although it's a bit outdated now. It was probably modern when I first saw it like 20 years ago. They were talking about stuff we'd have in the future, like VR goggles and voice-activated appliances. What a crazy far-off thing to imagine in the future. So while it's a bit out of date, it definitely keeps its theme of progress and like keep moving forward. So I'm gonna have to put this one in A tier. And also, since it's a continuously moving carousel going in a circle around the theater, you never have to wait more than 5 minutes to see the show. Swiss Family Treehouse. This is just a really big treehouse that you can walk around in Adventureland. I've walked around it a couple times. It is pretty neat, but I don't really remember watching Swiss Family Robinson, so it doesn't hold any special significance for me. Also, all of the walkways are really tiny, so it's kind of awkward to get past people. I'm gonna put this one in B tier. Also, I noticed there were 2 rides that this left off for the Magic Kingdom, so I'll be rating Tiana's Bayou Adventure and Big Thunder Mountain Railroad as well. So Tiana's Bayou Adventure is the recent retheming of Splash Mountain. Splash Mountain was one of my favorite rides at the Magic Kingdom, but towards the end of its life it was getting severely outdated and badly needed some maintenance done to it because all of the animatronics were always broken. So I'm glad that this ride got a lot of the attention that it deserved, and it got the update, everything got cleaned up. It was a really nice experience riding it. I was surprised how much I liked it, but I would say The Princess and the Frog is one of my favorite Disney princess movies. I'm not really a big fan of the Disney princess movies, but I do like this one. So I don't think there was a better choice on what to retheme it to. So it's still a nice log ride with a big 50-foot plunge at the end, and you are guaranteed to get wet if you sit in the first row. I found that out firsthand twice. I like the concept that you start out the ride human-sized, and then Mama Odie shrinks you down so that you're the same size as the frogs and all that. And then they scale you back up again before the end of the ride. Overall, a great experience, but since it is just a retheme of a 50-year-old ride, at least I think it's 50 years old. Big Splash Mountain open 1989, so it is a 35-year-old ride, and you can definitely feel it in some of the bumps on the ride. There are some really bumpy parts of the ride where you can still feel its age in the track. So it's great, but for the bumpy ride, I'm gonna put it in A tier. Thunder Mountain Railroad. I think this is the best roller coaster at the Magic Kingdom. It goes perfect with the Frontierland theming. It's fast, it whips you around, it's really fun to ride. Just a train ride through the desert, old mining equipment and stuff. It's fun. I'm putting that in S tier. And I'm not gonna rate Awesome Planet because I have no idea what that is. And I also don't know what the Beauty and the Beast sing-along is either, so I'm not gonna rate that. I've also never seen Canada Far and Wide. I think that's at EPCOT. I think this is the start of the EPCOT rides. Frozen Ever After. This is at the Norway Pavilion in EPCOT. Back in ye olden days when I was a kid, the Norway ride was just called the Norway ride, I think? And it just took you on a boat ride through Norway type stuff, and it had some trolls in it, and it was fun. There's even a part of the ride where it takes you backwards, and you come out a hole and right next to the entrance to the line, so people get a little preview of the ride. But it was all rethemed to Frozen, and then they closed up that hole so you don't go back out anymore. It's kind of sad. So this is a very nice boat ride. Takes you through some of the Frozen stuff. And then just like the Norway ride, it will launch you backwards a couple times. It's kind of fun, but I've also seen videos of Tokyo Disney Sea's Frozen ride, and it is vastly superior to this one, which is just a reskin of the Norway ride. So I would say this ride is a bit disappointing, and it always has a really long line. So I'm gonna put this one in B tier. Disney and Pixar Short Film Festival. So this is just a theater where you go in and watch Disney short films, the ones that they typically premiere before their new movies. So if you like the Disney and Pixar short films, that's just a compilation of them. You'll like this. But I personally choose to skip it because there's nothing in the theater that really sets it apart. Like Mickey's PhilharMagic is a 4D experience. This short film festival is just short films on a screen. so there's nothing really interesting to it other than the films themselves. Grand Fiesta Tour. This is the ride inside the pyramid at the Mexico Pavilion. It's a boat ride that takes you through different scenes in Mexico as the three caballeros are trying to chase down Donald for their concert. Unfortunately, most of this ride takes place on screens. There's very little animatronics or actually real stuff in the ride until you get to the very end. And it was also made in the early 2000s, I believe, when they were just starting to put cartoon characters and real-life actors together on screen. So it is painfully obvious that the actors are reacting to nothing, and they weren't given much direction on where Donald and his friends would actually be. So it does look a bit awkward. I'm gonna have to put this one in B tier. No, actually, I'm gonna get in C tier. It has a catchy song, and the ending scene where they actually do have animatronics is pretty cool. And I do like passing through the pyramid on the boat ride. But other than that, it's just on screens. Moving on to Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. This is definitely the best ride at EPCOT, in my opinion. You start in the queue, which is very interactive. They also have scale models of Xandar and their ships. They have uniforms there, plus an interview with Guardians of the Galaxy. And then you go into 2 pre-shows that immerse you into the ride, because it's more of like an experience. And then you hop on the coaster, and it actually starts by launching you backwards. You don't expect it that first time. And then the Guardians of the Galaxy are all about 80s music, so it will play a random song while you're on the ride. And each car is detached from the others, sort of, so they do spin around as you're going around the coaster. Like, there are parts where the track will tilt you in and the cars will tilt in too, so you'll turn. So it is the most fun ride at EPCOT. I just don't feel like it fits the theme of EPCOT. I feel like this is something that should be at Hollywood Studios, but it was put in EPCOT because they had that giant empty show building left over from the Universe of Energy. So other than it being a little out of place, I think this is a perfect ride, and it's definitely S tier. Journey into Imagination with Figment. This ride's a journey into the Imagination Institute that gets taken over by Figment of your imagination. While I think the initial premise of the ride can be fun the first time you go see it, it does get a bit annoying where you go see it because there are fart jokes in it. They do blast fart scent at you. And I'd say this is a kind of an out-of-date ride that's a one-and-done type thing. And it's something you should never wait in line for. There's typically not a line for this ride. From my reaction, you can probably see why. But it's definitely C tier. Journey of Water. This is a Moana-themed educational walkthrough that explains the water cycle. There's a lot of interactive stuff in there too. You can stand under mist sprays. You can hold up your hand and water will shoot up to it. You can stand in certain places and it will make water flow down a creek. You can play the string instruments by running your hand through streams of water. And at the end of it is this giant statue of that island lady from Moana. And I have no idea how they made it, but it looks really cool. And it's a great picture spot. So it fits Epcot's educational nature. It's a nice experience, especially in the Florida heat. Having a little water path to walk on feels really nice. I'm gonna have to put this one in B tier. Living with the Land. This is a boat ride that takes you back into the greenhouses where Disney grows a lot of the food that they serve at the Magic Kingdom, and there are other parks around Florida. It's placed in the land, which is an area with a bunch of different restaurants, so this is a ride that you can do right after you eat and you don't want to get back on a roller coaster right away. And it's something I highly recommend if you're at the land, if you're eating at the land. I'm gonna put this one in A tier. Mission Space. This is a space simulator with two modes. There's a green mode, which is a safe or family-friendly version of the ride, where it's less intense. And then there's the orange version, which is the more intense version of the ride. And it just simulates you being an astronaut going to space. You press like 2 buttons when you're told to, and then things ultimately go wrong, and you gotta use the little joystick to pilot the plane, or the shuttle. But personally, I get sick when I ride this one, especially the orange mission. I really don't like how small and enclosed the simulator is, and you're locked in place with restraints too, so it's extra claustrophobic. And then you get whipped around with a lot of G-force, so it can make you sick too. It's also the only ride that actually gives you barf bags, and they're there for a reason. So while this can be fun, it's not for everybody. And for that, I'm gonna put it in C tier. Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. So this is the ride at the Paris Pavilion in EPCOT. And I wasn't really a fan of this ride when I rode it the first time. So most of the dialogue in the ride is in French, because they just imported the ride untranslated from Disneyland Paris. So you can't really understand much of what they're saying unless you're French. It's also a 3D ride, so if you don't really like 3D glasses, this might not be the ride for you. The ride is also mostly based on screens due to its 3D nature with the glasses. So there's only a few sets that are physically there. It does give a nice experience where you really feel like you've been shrunk down, because there's a sense of scale to everything. You're shrunk down, you're a little rat, you're running around the kitchen like Ratatouille. The queue is also very interactive, there's some nice stuff in there. But overall, for the untranslated nature of it, for the reliance on 3D and screens, I'm gonna have to put this one in C tier. Reflections of China. So this one's at the China Pavilion, and it's this massive room of a screen that wraps all the way around. It's a 360 screen, and it plays videos of famous places in China. It's basically an ad for the country, like, come visit China, we love tourism. So it's a very nice movie. It can be a little disorienting, and you have to stand through the whole thing, but they give you nice handrails to hang on to. Overall, for the good film, I'd put it in B tier. Soarin'. Soarin's another flight simulator where they put you in a hang glider basically with a bunch of other people, suspend you in front of a big screen, and then simulate like you're flying over different landmarks around the world. I think this is a pretty cool ride, but with one caveat: you don't want to be sitting on the very end or underneath, like at the very bottom, because there are a couple rows of hang gliders that will all go on top of each other when you're in the simulator room. So if you're on bottom, you'll have people's feet dangling just at the top of your vision. If you're on the edge, the screen is rounded, so stuff will start to look weird the farther away from the center of the screen you are. So it's a great experience depending on where you sit. So I'm gonna throw this in B tier. Spaceship Earth. This one's in the giant golf ball. Takes you on a history of human communication. It's a very interesting ride. I like all the animatronics on it. It's a kind of a classic. The only thing that's a bit strange is at the end when it has you build your own future. Basically, there's little screens built into each car, where as it takes you down backwards back to the entrance, or the exit I should say, it will take your picture and then put your head on a little stick figure, and then you get to build a future for them. Like, you choose different options. That feels a bit outdated because it never really works. Picture taking doesn't work very well. And it was also closed for renovation while I was there this time, so I didn't actually get to ride it again. So I'm gonna put this one in B tier. The Seas with Nemo and Friends. So this is another continuously moving ride that takes you through the story of finding Nemo, although it's not exactly like the movie. The ride itself is kind of mid-tier, it's very slow moving, takes you through the story of the movie. But it's really meant to ferry people into the aquarium, because that is where the ride will dump you out. And I think the aquarium is really cool. They have a ton of unique sea animals there. They have tanks with eels, lots of coral, sharks, mantis, manatees, a lot of great stuff. So if we're counting the aquarium with the ride, I'm gonna put this in B tier. Test Track. Test Track has a lot of bad luck in my opinion. Because I remember when it was a ride just about how vehicles are tested and designed, and then it got rethemed so that before you get on the ride, you actually customize and design your own car. And then it will run a bunch of tests on it as you go down the test track and tell you how your vehicle design performed. And then now it's been rethemed again to go back to that original test track feeling. But I think people really just ride it for the part at the end where it accelerates very fast to about 60 miles per hour, and you go on an outdoor track briefly. I'll also complain a bit that it also dumps you out into the middle of a GM showroom where they try to get you to buy a car, and I don't have money. I'm not buying a car. So I'm gonna put this one in B tier for the thrill. Expedition Everest. We are now into the Animal Kingdom. Expedition Everest is definitely the best roller coaster at Animal Kingdom, and maybe the best one at Disney World in general. You can see the mountain from really far away, and then when you actually get on the ride, it will take you up onto this broken track, and then it will actually switch the tracks behind you, and then roll you backwards down another direction into the dark, and it will actually track switch twice. And then it ends the coaster with you getting a glimpse of this massive, like 20-foot tall Yeti animatronic. Definitely the best roller coaster in the park. Easy S tier. Feathered Friends in Flight. I don't think I've actually seen this show, so I'm going to skip it. Festival of the Lion King. This one really does feel like a party. It's an immersive show where they bring out these four giant floats and put them at each corner of the room. And they each have giant animatronics on the back of them. They have people out on stilts, they have acrobatics, they have a fire dancer, they have ballet. There's a lot of great stuff in this show. Definitely a must-do if you're at the Animal Kingdom, and definitely an S-tier attraction. They'll even pick kids out of the front row for the finale to have a little parade around the center of the room. It's very cute. Finding Nemo, The Big Blue and Beyond. This is another stage show where all of the cast members are carrying around these giant fish puppets that are supposed to be their characters. And the way the stage is built too, they will also come out into the audience and walk around the aisles. And they go through the story of finding Nemo, adding a bunch of songs, and then at the end they rain a bunch of bubbles from the ceiling. Very nice show, definitely A tier. It's tough to be a bug. This is actually gone now because it's going to get replaced by a Zootopia show. This one's another interactive 3D show where you put on 3D glasses. And then there's some 4D elements, like they actually have some animatronics that'll come out of the ceiling and the walls. There's even a part of the show where they tell you bugs are running under the seats and your seat will actually like hit you from below. Very interesting, but also not the best show. It's kind of entertaining. I would just throw it in B tier, but I don't even know if I should be rating it because it's gone now. Anyway, Kilimanjaro Safari. So the safari takes you in a vehicle around this massive zoo area where you can see a ton of real animals like giraffes, zebras, lions, and hippos. And you can get up really close to them too. So if you go on this safari, especially earlier in the day, you're guaranteed to see something cool. But I'm gonna put this one in A tier. Tree of Life. The Tree of Life is the centerpiece of the animal kingdom, and it has a ton of animals carved into it. It's this massive tree made up of carvings of all the animals in the animal kingdom, basically. And it's a great representation of the park, in my opinion. The only problem I have is they don't really do a show on the tree. I think there is one coming to it next year, but there's no real nighttime show at the tree. You can only walk up to it if you're going to the Bugs Life show. All in all, I'd have to put it in B tier, just because you can't do much with it except maybe take a picture or two. Navi River Journey. This is a very relaxing boat ride. But the most notable thing about it is the animatronic at the end, because it is huge and it moves very smoothly. I think it's one of Disney's most advanced animatronics. Very impressive to see. I just think the rest of the boat ride is more or less just kind of peaceful. I have to put this in a solid A tier. I don't know what the Wildlife Express train is, so I won't be rating that one. Triceratops Spin, another spinny ride. You know how I feel about those. Straight to D tier. Dinosaur. So unfortunately, this is the one big attraction that I don't think I've ever been on. I don't know why, I just never find myself in Dino Land. So I don't know enough about Dinosaur to accurately place it on this tier list. Avatar Flight of Passage. I think this is the coolest simulator I've ever been on. They take you into this room full of these things that look like bikes. And then when you sit on them and the simulator comes alive, it's this massive, like, several story screen where you're meant to be one of the Na'vi riding a Banshee through the air, and it's very immersive, even to the point where that bike thing you're riding on actually inflates and deflates as if it's breathing. So for that, I'd have to put Avatar Flight of Passage in S tier. Also to mention that the queue is located in that Pandora area of Animal Kingdom, which looks very cool. And also there's a lot of stuff to see during the queue. Like, you start outside in this fluorescent type forest, and then you go into a research station where they have this massive floating dummy of one of the Na'vi, along with a bunch of other science equipment like magnets that are being pulled around to each side of a tube. Kali River Rapids. I have to say, this ride is kind of disappointing. There is one drop towards the middle of the ride where you might get wet a little bit. But for the most part, there isn't really anything interesting to see while you're on the ride. Plus, you're in this inner tube that can fit at least 8 people. Unless you bring a party of 8, for the most part, you're going to be staring straight across at someone you don't know. And it's kind of awkward. So I'm gonna have to throw this one in C tier. Now we're on to Disney's Hollywood Studios. First up is the alien swirling saucers in Toy Story Land. You know how I feel about rides that go in circles. D tier. Next we have the Beauty and the Beast live on stage. This is another stage play of a Disney movie. I think it just warrants an A tier on this list. Enough said. Disney Junior Play and Dance, I have never seen that. Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular. This one's very nice. It gives you a behind-the-scenes look at how stunts are performed in Hollywood movies. Basically giving you a live demonstration of stunt work that would be found on a movie set. So if you're into seeing live stunts, live performances, this show is very good. And definitely deserves a spot in the S tier. I have not seen the Frozen Sing-Along celebration. Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. So this is a simulator at the back of Galaxy's Edge where you get to pilot the Millennium Falcon along with about 5 other people as you try to, of course, smuggle something. The only problem is there's 3 positions. There's the pilot, the gunners, and then the engineers. And the pilots get to steer a bit, but everyone else kind of just presses or holds a button, so it's not very entertaining or engaging at all. And in my opinion, there's a far superior simulator, also based on Star Wars, in the same park. So I'm gonna have to put this one in D tier. I do want to give it 1 point though, because one time 2 years ago, literally the second time I ever got to ride it, the program actually crashed while we were on it, and it literally just blue screened the ride. So that was a very interesting and unforgettable experience. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. This is in the Chinese Theater, which is the main attraction at Hollywood Studios. Unfortunately, it replaced the Great Movie Ride, which I really like the Great Movie Ride. So while I do miss Great Movie Ride, I think Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway has really cool uses of projection mapping, and it has really creative uses of the trackless cars, like having Daisy make you dance, and then using projections to switch up the scenery. It's not a great movie ride, and it doesn't even fit the Hollywood theme as much as the Great Movie Ride did, but overall it's still a pretty decent ride, and I would put it in A tier. Muppet Vision 3D. This is the one show where I think the 3D gimmick works really well, just because the Muppets make fun of it so much in the show, and it does end with them literally destroying the theater. It's a very chaotic show and one that is definitely worth watching. Unfortunately, can't do that anymore because they're gonna bulldoze it and replace it with the Monsters Inc. ride, which I'm very sad about. So while it was there, Muppet Vision 3D does go in the S tier in my opinion. The Slinky Dog Dash. This is a very tame roller coaster in Toy Story Land. It's made more for kids. It does offer a great view of the park, especially at night. The ride is lit up at night, and it offers a great view of the park, so maybe avoid it during the day and go on it at night. But it always has really long lines, which I don't think are warranted because it's not that interesting of a roller coaster. The view is really the only thing it offers. So I'm gonna place this in B tier. Rise of the Resistance. This is definitely the most immersive ride that Disney has ever created. It really puts you in the shoes of a rebel spy getting taken up onto a Star Destroyer and then breaking out. The ride has 2 pre-shows, one actual pre-show, then one where you get on a ship, then get taken in by the Star Destroyer, and then the same door to the outside opens and you're in the Star Destroyer. Because the whole room actually, I think it's the whole room, rotates as part of the simulator, you just don't notice it. So it's that really cool effect of, it feels like you actually got abducted. And then the scale, the entrance of this ride is insane. It's an experience unmatched by any other ride. And also, if you get there at the right time, there is no wait. Because once Fantasmic starts, which is on the other side of the park, a lot of the crowds will head over there. So Rise of Resistance wait times, which are normally like 50 minutes to an hour in the off season, suddenly drops to like 30 or 20. So your best bet is to get there right when early entry starts, which is like 8:30, or get there later at night, which is ironically also around 8:30 when Fantasmic is starting. It feels different at night too, because in between the 2 pre-shows is outside, so you do get a slightly different experience whether you're there in the morning or at night. Star Tours. This is the superior Star Wars simulator that I was telling you about. So this ride, instead of being like a smuggler's run thing, it's more framed as you're a tourist in the Star Wars universe. And things will go wrong, but you're still just touring the universe basically. And the sequence of events in the simulator is mostly randomized, and there's a ton of different random pathways you can go down. So you can ride it like 10 times and get a different experience every time. So the ride has a ton of re-rideability, and there's rarely ever a line for it. So it's very easy to just get on, get off, get on again, get off, get on, and experience something new like every 5 minutes. So I'm gonna throw this one into A tier. Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. This has a very atmospheric queue. You're outside of an abandoned hotel, and you can see it's a dropper ride. So you can see they will open the doors on the side of the building when they're about to drop the cars, and you can hear the screams of the people as they go down. And you can hear and see it from like a block away when you're at the park. So it's building anticipation for you to get on the ride. Pre-show is also perfectly creepy and gets you in the mood for that spooky drop ride. Themed like you're in an elevator crashing down. The drops are always really good too because they're randomized, so you get a different experience every time. But you're always guaranteed to get at least one big drop in there. And since the doors open on the side of the building, before you drop, you get to look out over all of Hollywood studios. So that's an easy S tier ride. Toy Story Mania. This one is like Buzz Lightyear, where you have a blaster and you're pulling a little cord to shoot targets on a moving screen. And the car will spin you around, whip you around to different screens, and there will be different types of projectiles. Like there's a ring toss game, there's a dart throwing game, there's a pie chucking game. So it's not the same thing the whole way through. And of course you're competing with the person in the seat next to you to try and get the high score in your vehicle. Always a fun competition, so I'll have to put this one in A tier. Vacation Fun Short. I like this one, however there's a caveat, because it is about Mickey going on vacation, but it is also a compilation of a lot of other Mickey Mouse shorts that I've seen. So I'd say only about half of the video is actually original, and there's no cool gimmick with it either. It's not 3D, there's no smell-o-vision or whatever. It's just a movie made up of some other movies that you've already seen. The only really unique thing about it is that after you exit, there are a bunch of props from the shorts that you can take pictures with, like the potato from Potato Land. So I'm gonna put this one in C tier. The Rockin' Roller Coaster. An Aerosmith-themed roller coaster where you're in a limo driving through Los Angeles to get to a concert. This is the only ride in any of the Disney parks that actually goes upside down, and it does it 3 times, I think. Completely in the dark, by the way. It's an indoor ride in the dark. The initial launch is also insane, as it goes like 0 to 60 in a second. And it will also be playing a random Aerosmith song as you go down the track. Great theming, great roller coaster. Easy S tier. Walt Disney Presents, I don't know what that one is. Luminous, The Symphony of Us. That's the fireworks show over the lake at EPCOT. In this show, they shoot jets of colored water, they do fireworks, they do sparklers, all over the Showcase Lagoon, I think it's called, in the middle of EPCOT. They even roll call the countries in the showcase with the lights. It's a pretty cool show. I have to put it A tier, I think. Definitely something you want to check out at night if you're there at Epcot. Wonderful World of Animation. This is the show that they do on the Chinese Theater at Hollywood Studios. It is kind of just a highlight compilation of Disney animated movies projected onto the theater. So I'm gonna have to put this one in C tier. Happily Ever After, I think, is actually the fireworks show at the Magic Kingdom. I think that is the castle behind that. I gotta say, the fireworks were kind of underwhelming, as most of the show is just projections on the castle, and I definitely would have preferred seeing more fireworks to just seeing random Disney characters being thrown onto the castle at different places. So I'm definitely throwing this one is gonna go in B tier. Phantasmic. This is the best show at Walt Disney World, in my opinion. Features Mickey fighting a maleficent dragon with a sword that shoots sparks. It has tons of characters coming out on boats, doing dances. It even has all of the characters come out on this big riverboat and go around this lake. It is a massive show. And it does end with fireworks too. Definitely worth seeing at least once, maybe more than once if you're at Hollywood Studios. I am just gonna throw this in the top of A tier though, because there are a lot of sections of the show where it's just projections on fans of water in front of the stage. I'm assuming to give the actors time to change costumes and sets and everything. But it is kind of boring in an otherwise very exciting show. And then I'm gonna skip Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy because that was replaced with the Disney Villains show, which I have right here. Now the Villains show, you have three villains. You have Cruella, DeVille, Maleficent, and Captain Hook, who all think that they are misunderstood villains and that they deserved better. So they all three come out and put on a show for you, and then it's up to you in the audience to clap for whoever you think was the most misunderstood or whatever. And then they're the winner for that show, I guess. It's a fun little show, and the stage is actually really cool. I like the mirrors and the aesthetic of it. But the show is the same every time, with the exception of who wins it. I think that's random. So I'd have to say that this is a solid B tier show. Okay, I've ordered them roughly within their own tiers. So to wrap it up, starting in D tier, we have Millennium Falcon's Smuggler's Run, Alien Swirling Saucers, Country Bear Musical Jamboree, Magic Carpets of Aladdin, Disney and Pixar Short Film Festival, and Triceratops Spin. In C tier, we have Liberty Square Riverboat, Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor, Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, Grand Fiesta Tour, Cali River Rapids, Hall of Presidents, Tomorrowland Speedway, Mission Space, Journey into Imagination with Figment, Vacation Fun Short, Wonderful World of Animation, and Walt Disney World Railroad. In B tier, we have Spaceship Earth, Slinky Dog Dash, Happily Ever After, Test Track, Soarin', The Seas with Nemo and Friends, Frozen Ever After, The Village Show, Astro Orbiter, Dumbo the Flying Elephant, Jungle Cruise, It's a Small World, Bad Tea Party, Enchanted Tiki Room, Journey of Water, Tree of Life, Swiss Family Treehouse, Reflections of China, It's Tough to Be a Bug, and Prince Charming, Regal Carousel. In A tier, we have Tron Light Cycle Run, Phantasmic, Tiana's Bayou Adventure, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, Luminous Symphony of Us, PhilharMagic, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, Star Tours, Toy Story Mania, The Barnstormer, Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin, Under the Sea, Peter Pan's Flight, Living with the Land, Winnie the Pooh, Carousel of Progress, Finding Nemo, The Big Blue and Beyond, Navi River Journey, Kilimanjaro Safari, Tom Sawyer Island, People Mover, and Beauty and the Beast live on stage. And lastly, in S tier, we have Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, Twilight Zone Tower of Terror, Rockin' Roller Coaster, Space Mountain, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, Pirates of the Caribbean, Haunted Mansion, Expedition Everest, Rise of the Resistance, Cinderella Castle, Avatar Flight of Passage, Festival of the Lion King, Muppet Vision 3D, and Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular. Thank you all for watching my Walt Disney World Ride tier list. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos. And if you agree or if you have any disagreements, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what your tier list looks like. So everybody have a great day. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.